typical pit stop service station where you can get something to eat. Ying's having some noodles or something like that, which looks horrible. I'm having a cup of coffee because there's nothing else here I can eat. Nobody sells chicken livers. I'm most upset. I do like a chicken liver now and then. Yes, exactly. Well, we've arrived. Now this is rural Thailand. This is where Ying's mum lives. Out in the middle of nowhere. This is proper Thailand. Where when I arrive everybody runs out and goes Phalang, Phalang, because they don't understand what a European person looks like. Nice little dogs everywhere, a few banana trees, not a lot else. I'm just hoping there's some fishing places somewhere. Our bedroom for the night, not exactly 5-star, but it'll do the job. Well guys, we've found some water. There's a little lad that lives near us, says there's fish in here, and I've seen fish jumping. This is the expert angler for the day, going to show us where to go. I've seen a lot of good fish rising and splashing about, but I haven't got a clue what they are. We're going to go around here where there's a little bit of shade, see if we can find. There's 2 big lakes here and a river. I don't fancy the river much because it looks pretty well overgrown, but if we can find somewhere along here, like here, bit shade, this would do okay. Try here, babe. Give it a try, see what happens. Float fish bread and corn. See if you get any bites. Got a fish and I don't know what it is. That I think is a Java barb, I think. Oh, look nice. Yeah. Put him back. There you go. Very, very hard to hook. Well, that's the first for this holiday. Where's he? Fish on. Fish on. Oh, no, stop winding. I'm saying he doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't know what to do, that's why he wants to try. You want to teach him.
There you go. Another Java barb. Just dropping a bit of bread dough under this tree. Getting plenty bites just beyond this tree, but they're bloody hard to hook. Guy just pulled up on a motorbike and said there is some big fish in here, but I don't know how you're supposed to catch them. Ying's gone to buy the little lad a fishing rod because he wants to go fishing. He's never had a fish. Fish number 3 is on the hook. That's a monster. There's another Java barb. Oop. There's got to be some bigger ones in here. I've no idea where Ying's taking me. I think this is Auntie's rice farm. Can't see us catching any fish here, like. I take you somewhere else, beware the dogs. Well, I don't know whether this is it or not. A few lily pads, a bit of water. Looks quite deep. I don't know whether there's any fish in or not. Can only try. This is the land that we've been looking at. There's a lot of it. The house that's on at the minute is occupied. That's Ying's brother's old truck sitting there. Hasn't moved since he died a few months ago. But with a little bit of work, well, a lot of work actually, we can turn it into the house next door, which is what I'll show you in a minute. This house and all this land is about £14,000, I think. That's quite a lot of land. Goes all the way back here. I don't know what they are. Look like pig pens or something. It's pretty well overgrown. Needs a lot of work, but with a good clear out, there's a hell of a lot of land here. Probably about an acre, I would think. The house is all wooden built. It's in pretty good shape, but we'll have to probably knock it down, I would think, to build a new one. It's pleasantly cool today, about 22 degrees. Nice veranda up there, nice and cool. And I'll show you this house next door. Now the guy who just built this house has built it for £20,000. Now that is a lovely house. Very, very pretty. A lot of land. Just shows what you can do with 20 grand out here. That would be 200 grand if we built that in Britain. Very quiet. And all of a sudden, it's starting to get very hot. Well, we're back at her auntie's rice farm, which is plagued with chickens and cockerels and roosters. But apparently there's tilapia and sawai and things in this pond, so I'm going to fish for them. This is a proper rice farm, her family's rice farm. And I'm being shown this way for some reason. Yeah, don't worry. What we're looking at?
They drain the water, see?
Oh, they're draining the water.
Wow.
Oh, they get the fish out. Very good. Hello, son. This tree, guys, is covered in these little fruit.
Marmalade.
Mamari.
Yes.
Mamari. Tastes delicious. Tastes like blackberry or raspberry. Never seen them before. Like raspberry. Yeah. In UK. UK, yeah, we have raspberry. Yeah. Taste same, alloy mac. Yeah. I'm getting the guided tour around the fish pond.
Water.
Yeah. He's trying to explain to me where the water comes from and where it goes. They obviously irrigate the rice, the land to the left here, which is a bit dry at the minute. It says this is about 8 meters deep, which I'm surprised at. Seen one or two little fish rise. Cows have got.
How small?
Yeah.
Baby small.
Oh, baby cow. Yeah.
Baby cow.
Yeah.
Baby cow.
Not like our cows.
Yes.
Baby. Chickens everywhere. My favourite animal when they're cooked. Look at this lot, scrawny little buggers. Tasty, alloy. What they're doing here is growing small fish in this net, and then they let them go into the rice paddy, and when they've grown big enough, after they eat all the insects and things, they drain the rice paddy, which is what they're doing now, to catch all the fish, tilapia and catfish. Very interesting, very basic, but works for them. Obviously they make a living out of it. Well, that was an interesting little venture to the rice farm. We're going to go back there later on tonight when the water's drained. We've come back today for a couple of hours to the same lake I was at yesterday where I got the Java barbs. But today I have no one with me, just me alone, which is good, which is what I want. Bit peace and quiet, fish alone. I'm going to fish bread, dough, under the float, and see if we can catch a bigger Java barb than we did yesterday. No fish moving at the minute, but I'm going to fish under this tree in the shade. See what happens, eh? Well, I've been here 2.5 hours. I've even ground baited the swim with rice husk and sweet corn, and I've never had a sniff, not one touch. Very few fish showed themselves today, not like yesterday where they were up and about all the time. So it's looking like today is a blank, because Ying's picking me up in half an hour. So unless someone changes quick, I'll have to go and say hello to Buddha and ask him what's going on. It's been suggested by a certain person, Paul Johnson, you know who you are, that while I was here I made a bit of a vlog about the fishing in Thailand and the best way to go around catching some monsters if you fancy coming here. While we've been here, I've fished at 4 venues which are proper fishing parks. I've also tried some of the local ponds and I wouldn't recommend it. The fish are very scarce. It's very difficult to tell what's a lake and what's a flooded rice paddy, because there's a lot of water around everywhere you go, and a lot of them are just rice paddies that look like fishing ponds, but they're not. The ones that do have any number of fish in are privately owned and you can't fish them, I found. So what I would highly recommend is that you base yourself in Bangkok, because from Bangkok within about an hour you've got some excellent venues, and a fishing guide is a must, and this is the reason why. If you take the first place I videoed, which is Bung San Ram, probably the most popular fishing park in Thailand because of its size. You know, there's about 50 bungalows, there's a fishing tackle shop, there's a restaurant, you've got guides, you've got bait, everything. But if you're not Thai and you're not with a guide prepared to get your eyes taken out, I found out that Thai nationals can fish there for a day for 500 baht, which is about £10, £11 at the moment, plus the bait. If you're English or European, or what they class as a Falang, you're going to be charged 6,000 baht for a day's fishing, which is more than 10 times as much as a Thai, plus the bait, plus the guide, plus the net, plus the tackle, unless you brought your own. They'll try to rent you a bungalow for 2,000 for the day with air conditioning, which is very nice, but it's expensive. And you can end up spending £200 for a day's fishing at Bung San Ram. On saying that, however, if that is the way you go, it's well worth it, because the fishing in there is just tremendous. There's Mekong catfish in there up to over £400. The norm is between sort of £50 and £100. The Siamese carp that you saw me catching seem to go from £20 up to over £100. There's a vast number of big tilapia in there, £3 or £4, which you saw me catch. In fact, we couldn't get through them to start with. They were nicking the bait all the time. There's sawai, which are striped catfish. They run up to about 40 or 50 kilo as well. It's just a tremendous place to fish. Now, Bung San Ram, like most of the fishing parks around Bangkok, although there are one or two quite central to Bangkok, sort of centre, if there's such a thing as the centre of Bangkok, because it's a massive, massive city. Most of the parks are about an hour's drive away. Now, the chances of you having a car while you're here is pretty slim, unless you rent one. So, I would highly recommend the services of a good fishing guide. And the one that I used, Chai Jirikon is his real name. He owns and runs Thailand Fishing Services. Thailand Fishing Guide Services, I beg your pardon. You can find him on Facebook. I'll put his name and his contact phone number here for you. So if ever you need to call him when you're here, you can call him. Chai's a great lad. I met him 5 years ago at Bung San Ram when he was a guide there. And now he's got his own company, and he also manages Amazon BKK, which I featured in this one with all the big red tails and the arapaima. He actually lives at Amazon BKK with his wife and kids. I was his first customer in 2 years because of COVID. He's a lovely lad. He speaks good English. It cost me about £800 to have his services for 4 days. But bear in mind that he picks you up at the hotel, takes you to the fishing park, he feeds you all day, you get drinks all day, non-alcoholic, he pays for the bait, he pays for the ticket, he's got all the contacts, he knows where places are, and he really, really looks after you while you're there. So forget all the other fishing guides, use Chai. He's a great lad and very, very nice to get on with. Good guide. Knows all the good spots. Now the 4 fishing parks I mentioned, there was Bung San Ram, which is the first one. Chai also took me to a private barramundi pond, which was like not fishing, it was just catching. I've never known a pond with so many barramundi in it. At the right time of year, like later in the year when they've grown a bit, they're up to 20 kilo, 30 kilo. I mean, they're tremendously big fish. We went at the wrong time after it had been stocked, and the fish were sort of between 3 and 5 or 6 or 7 kilo, which was unfortunate, but great fun on light tackle. I would love to go there with a fly rod because it would be fantastic sport. Third place we went to was Pilot 111. Now that's an interesting place. They've got about 5 or 6 lakes. One of them is solely for snakehead. I did get a chance to fish that one for an hour, and I did hook a giant snakehead, but it got off. They're very hard to hook. They've got hard mouths. There's chow prior catfish, which are difficult to hook in the mouth, as you saw by my video. There's large barramundi. I got my PB barramundi there, which was £14. There's Asian red tail catfish in there as well. There's a good mix of species. It's quite cheap to fish as well, apparently, although I got it as part of a package. And the 4th place we went to was probably my favourite, which was Amazon BKK. I mean, that place is stuffed full of fish. You can't get a cup of coffee. You've got to like wind your line in because your bite alarm's going to go off as soon as the bait hits the water in most cases. Fish near the top for alligator gar, which are hard to hook because of their mouth. And arapaima. I got my 2 big chow prior catfish there. Red tail catfish, there's just dozens of them. Nearly every cast you get a big red tail, and they're all sort of 20 to 40 kilo, and the fight you get off them is absolutely tremendous. Fantastic sport. So there you go. I haven't put a map on because it's a very difficult place to map where these parks are, but obviously if you hire a guide, he's going to know where they are and where to take you. But you'll find Chai on Facebook, Thailand Fishing Guide Services, Chiayaphum. You can message him on Messenger and he's very, very quick to respond. Tell him Lol sent you from England, Lawrence. He knows who I am now. And I hope that helps you if you're coming out to catch some monsters, which is guaranteed if you come over here. My next venue is going to be Buriram Monsters. I'm going to fish there 2 or 3 days. I fished there 4 years ago. The fish were quite big then. They're huge now, and there's stingrays in there as well. And I'd love to catch a stingray. So we'll see how we'll go on there. Thank you for listening. I hope that wasn't too boring.